Thank you, thank you. I was, two things really surprised me tonight. One is the camera. I was not prepared, so I actually brought my own little digital camera. Someone would take a snapshot of me. Second thing that surprised me, I thought it would be full. So I spent so much time on the presentation. I have to make it really good. But anyway, so we're going to make it good tonight. So as Carol already talked about me a little, right now I'm more a full-time professor in Bangkok Community College. And speaking of Channel 99, and I've been talking with the TV station of Nashua for a number of years to create a whole series of watercolor workshops, like a weekly workshops. So to watch that out, when it's going to happen, it could be like every week, Saturday or Sunday, you can watch and learn watercolor paintings from the TV. And also on my website, I do have a full watercolor learning, free learning lessons for yongchen.com. So assuming everyone already have a card from me, and the address at the bottom is for the book. It's agift.yongchen.com. A gift is the title of the book. And if you just type yongchen.com, that's my main website. Okay, so okay, let's get started. This is the book I have been participated in the past since 1995. This is the first, actually it's not really first. I did the first picture book for a small publisher, and Little Brown came to me and asked me.
Could I ask you to move back a little bit?
Okay. Little Brown came to me, asked me in 1995 to do the picture book for them. And they announced this is my first book. So anyway, from that time, I said, oh, this is my first book. So I just ignored the books before then. So this is a long time ago, like in 1995, published in 1996. And this is a couple books that I did for HarperCollins, children's book. And you know, HarperCollins is a giant in the children's book publishing. And this is called chapter books. And watercolor painting for the cover and black and white drawings in the inside. So I'm going to talk about what I know in the children's book publishing. This is very interesting. This is the book that came to me just like out of the blue. And I have no idea how they find me, but if you're out there, they find you. They always have a way come to you. And this one actually came from a publisher under Highlights for Children's magazines, and this is called Boys Mills Press. It's a mid-sized publishing company but they are doing really good on choosing stories. And this book, probably they find me because I'm a Chinese. Because this is about adoption. A Chinese American parents decided to adopt a Chinese girl, and they went to China. And there's a whole story about the journey, went to China, and how that changed their life. And so it's a very sweet story. And this is my latest book. And I have thought about the story for 14 years before I wrote it. That is because of this book that I worked with. At that time was just the senior editor in Little Brown, and right now she is vice president of Little Brown. So I could not be able to talk to her at this time. She was so busy. Her name is Megan Tingley. And when we finished the book, and she actually sat down with me as well as with a couple of her assistants, editors, sit down in Chinatown having a little tea. And then she talked to me and asked me, Yong, why don't you write something about your own culture? So that really hit me. But this is like 1996. I was a little boy. I'm just kidding. So, but I did not have the confidence. I really loved to write something about my own culture because I love it so much. And I kept thinking about it. What I'm going to write. I couldn't believe that I would be able to write something and publish. It's a really big deal for lots of people, including myself. So until the time that I went to University of Harvard for my MFA illustration, and that everybody required to do some things called dream projects. The dream projects, as what you call, is something you always dream about to do, but you never have time or encouragement or the space. So I thought about, okay, dream project, that's my picture book about my culture. So I wrote about the story and I thought about it, and it came up the idea actually within the first week of the school. So the story is about, very simple story. But this is for early age picture book. And it's for 3 to 8 or 9 years old. But of course, I'm going to touch a little bit about the subject matters of picture book, if you're interested. But this is the whole story. I'm assuming that everyone have a chance to look around my pictures in the gallery, and it is about very simple. Let me go through it really quick. And this is a mother, and this is the little daughter. And this is the setting of, it's actually an ordinary American family house setting. There's a kitchen. Actually, this is my house. And this is my wife. And she always, in every book, whenever I have a chance. So here it is the picture of their brothers and sister that still live in China. So she looking at the picture in the Chinese New Year day, which is mostly we don't celebrate, but just celebrate in the community or the family. So the girl always dressed like a Chinese, a lucky dress and red and that kind of thing. So she was looking at the picture and start thinking about, especially in this special holiday, and thinking about my brothers and sister in China and what they do. I really miss them. And then at this time, someone knocked on the door, and there's the mailman, and deliver a box, right? And they took the box, and they went inside, and they sat down and thought about what is this in the box. And you see they still keep the Chinese traditions, have a Chinese tea and Chinese tea set. And they open it, actually a letter, what they see. It's a letter about Chinese greeting, Chinese New Year. And so the story, the letter also talk about the story. And the story, which is right from this page. It's just talk about the older brother is a farmer and farming, and then when he took a break and he saw a beautiful stone. So he picked it up and looked at it and wondering what he can do with this little stone because so unique. And then he could not figure out what to do, so he took on a boat to went to see his younger brother, which is me. So I use me as the model. So as you know, I'm an artist. So actually, in the story, I am a fish farmer. So I raise fish and sell the fish, and that's my profession. So I'm also a very good sculptor, which is in the real life I'm not. I'm just a painter. So the younger brother is carving and polishing, and finally, when the job is done, and he went to see the younger sister. So the seeing the whole story came from the older brother, the second brother, now the sister. And the sister is finished, complete the gift, used the red string and tied it together. Now at this moment, when they finish reading the story, they find there is inside a box, and that is the necklace. It's still so warm, heartwarming, isn't it? And now the mother help the daughter and put on the beautiful necklace, a Chinese gift from far, far away. So this is the whole story and came here, but this is represent not just a necklace. It's a lot more than that. So it's a story is simple. Now, and they basically greet each other, Happy New Year, and the girl says also Happy New Year to our family far, far away in China. At the end of the story, and describe all the secrets. It's about why is the dragons, and why is the red string, and what represented. So it's the end of the story. So I wrote this story not because I'm a Chinese, and actually I love my culture, and I love the fact that we all came from a place outside this country and have the heritage and culture and came with us. And we should always remember that, and always also remember the connections and who we are and where we came from, and how there's a small world, yes, in the big world. So this is a simple story. So I brought some copy with me, and I told my publisher, and they said, I'm probably going to sell some books. So hopefully you guys can help me. Okay, so let's go on the presentation. Can I ask I'm assuming that everyone over here is interested in children's book writing or publishing, right? Has anyone published a book in the past? No, right? Is anyone actually writing a book right now? Yeah, writing, right? You're interested. So I'm assuming this question that you have probably will be, because I'm kind of receiving emails weekly from different writers, and because my website is very popular on the internet, and everyone can easily search children's book, illustration, the children's book, watercolor, children's book, anything. And with my website right pop on the top on the Google. So they would send an email to me, ask me, says I'm a writer and I really want to find a publisher, and could you help me to find a publisher? And could you do the illustration for my story so I can sell my story? And all kind of questions. And every time I always very patient to write long emails and point them to the direction that they can find the information to help them, the local publisher. So I'm going to touch a little bit about everything in the publishing world as far as I know, even though compared to some of my friends, they already published 100 books, so I'm still a little beginners. But I do know something that most people, they probably still don't know, so I'd like to share with you guys. Okay, so the title of this presentation is my experience, I should say my little experience with children's book publishing. And this is my name, Yong Chen. Okay, my years with children's book, I guess I already talked about that. Since 1995, actually before 1995, I already interested in children's book illustration and writing. And at that time, I studied graphic design in Bangkok Community College. And one of my good friends, that she actually a very good writer, and she gave me some short story, and I illustrated. And I tried to get them published as well. So after Bangkok Community College, and I went to Mass Art for illustration major, and I graduated with BFA in illustration. And in the first year in Mass Art, I got a project from a company in Massachusetts. This is called Special Gift International Incorporations in Canton. And they came to me and, of course, pay like a student rate for the illustration. But however, I have my first picture book published by them, and I have some hard copy. I don't have a copy with me tonight, but it's not looking as good as these books. Anyway, so, and that pointed me into, I allocate lots of interest in children's books. And I went on to the library and find lots of books about how to do picture books and such things. And so I learned a lot more. So compare some of my classmates, they spend lots of time on like advertising illustrations and the other areas. For me, it's all about children's book. So, so before I graduated from Mass Art, and a year before, and I finished a project. It's about African American wedding, a traditional African American wedding, and that got attention from Little Brown art director. Susan came to the school and met me and asked me if I would take the time to go into Little Brown and to meet some people. So I went in there, and there's a full conference room of editors, and they have lots of story, lots of questions for me, and I showed them my work. And then Megan Tinkley asked me to go into her office and show me a manuscript. And this is for this book. And she asked me, when you go home, read it and tell me if you like it. And I read it. I cried at the end after I finished it. And I read it a couple of times. And I wanted to do the book, even they don't pay me. So, but however, especially at that time, Little Brown was very focused, a lot of energy on picture books. And they are well-established publishing house. So they don't normally take on any new artist. So I was pretty lucky to be one of the artists. So, so that was just the beginning of my interest in the publishing, into the publishing world. And later I discovered by HarperCollins, and I went over there to meet with the editors and discuss with some of the projects. And one thing I want to tell you, you might not really pay much attention to the illustrations because we are assuming most of us are writers except 2 or 3 artists sitting here. And this is because I did my picture book projects when I was in school. It was an African American wedding. So they liked the characters that I did, African American people. And this is all African American people. I always tell this to everyone when I went there. And this is the second book. So you know what's the connections? African American girl. And what is the other girl? This is a white girl. So so then the next book, and they asked me to do one. It's just a white girl, no African American characters, and with sharks and lots of sharks in the book. So it's interesting. And then later there's a white family and a Chinese family. And now it's like after what? After 14 years, I finally be able to do my own race, Chinese people. So for the artists here, be very careful what you have include in your portfolio. And the people always looking for the proof that what you can do before they give you a project. Anyway, for a number of years, I taught illustrations in Master College of Art, and I do work with my students on find out their really passions. Okay, so my years of children's book publishing, very simple, and I'm still writing my third story, at this moment, and my focus would be this very similar about Chinese tradition and Chinese culture. So because there's a lot of mist or lots of mystery to the people born and grow up in this country, including Chinese families or not Chinese family, or even the people live in China. They, in the past 20 years, they forgot what the real Chinese culture is. So it's the time to review it and pick up the good thing and keep them. Okay. My first story, and again, a gift.yongchen.com. If you don't have a card from me, I have some card on the table. I include a lot of things in this website. And this website is just all about anything about a book, about this book. And all the publicity and the radio interview, TV interview, newspaper, and everything that all include in this website. So take a moment, and I guarantee you're going to find some entertainment from this website. And how to publish your children's book. And I would say this is only the part one. And I'm going to do lots of research and talk to all my old friends, include some of my professors, my old professors, which is very famous and writer, illustrators in the world. And anything that I don't know, I'm not sure, I always can get answer for you from the people I know. And so what I'm going to talk about, we only like half hours, 45 minutes. So I'm going to go through, touch different areas, and then I'm going to open for questions, so we can have some discussions. And also, hopefully, we still have time to sign some books. The first thing is very important, that a few things is always should know before you approach or do anything on your promotion or anything. Know your book's category. And lots of people just say, okay, I have a good idea, and let's see who is the biggest publisher. Okay, this is the name. You went to the Barnes & Noble, or went upstairs to children's room and go through the book and look at the copyright page, and you'll find some publisher, right? And you're going to go online, type the publisher's name, and find their contact information, and then you will ship your manuscript. It's not work like that. It's never work like that. So the first thing you're going to know is what is your category. Some publisher, they may not do any of those books. So you need to know exactly which category that your book will fit into. So here's the list. The first one is baby books. Well, you guys all know baby books. And those is for the very first step. The baby would learn color, word, sound, all those very thick cardboard books, small books, and simple. And are you doing that type? Oh, sorry. And the toddler books, and you probably know more than I do. Early picture book, which is so far, there's 3 picture books that I did, are all early picture books. Early picture books usually have a lot more picture, very little text. And also, well, when you write about it, and what do you care about, what's the primary reader, what's the secondary reader, and if we have time, we can get into that. Picture books for older readers. And what's the difference between the early picture books? Early picture books is very much like little words or no words. But for older readers, lots of words, probably still lots of illustrations, but they have lots of words, lots of text. And easy readers, chapter books, and this is chapter books, and usually like in this format, and divide the whole story. And this is a format for each of those books. And I do have a page I created. So I thought it would be easy for everyone to find more information. And some very good book to tell you lots of tips about writing, promoting, and how to contact with publishers. And I will show you later. And there is a web page, and hopefully you can write down and check into that, and get a couple books, and you can read it on your own, because a couple books could help you to smooth out. And sometimes this is not about a $10 that you pay. It could be a 10-year that you save. And so always think about the time that you're going to save. Middle grade books, young adult books, high-low books. Anyone knows high-low books, what that means? This is called high interest, low reading skills. So you can go upstairs and go to all the way to the end, to the back, close the window, and lots of those books has lots of pictures about like a certain whale. There's lots of images, could be photographs or illustrations, and some text. And that is help some especially some kid, a little bit older kid, like they are in the 4th grade. And they have lots of interest on lots of different subject matters. They understand lots of complex subject matters, but their reading skill is very low. So those children's books actually help them to catch up on the reading, on the knowledge. That's not because their reading skill affect the progress of the development. And juvenile serious books, and you guys probably read thousands as you grew up. And elementary and secondary school textbooks. I'm not sure you write those books, religious books. And you want to look at it. This is which age group that you're writing for, and which category you belong to. And know your book category, again, back. And also, what is the subjects? It's very important. Every publishers, they are only publish some subjects, not all of them. Like a fiction, under the fiction, there's adventure, animal concept, fantasy, high-low, history, problem novels, special needs, non-fictions, activity books, biography, careers, concept, how-to, music, dance, religious, sports, and so on. And then the second thing is very important. Know your book's audience. What does that really mean? You know, when you write something for a target audience, you have to understand what they do, what they're familiar with, and everything in their world. You have to thinking about sometimes you have to like pretend you're one of them. So you're going to use their language, use their thinking process, even though you know much more. But you need to understand, and sometimes you need to have conversations with. And lots of school teachers, they have advantage, especially elementary school teachers or kindergartens. They with those kids all the time, and so try to understand your audience, and also how big is the audience. You know, before you approach the publishers, you need to bring this information to the publisher. Let's convince them. How big is the audience? How big is the marketplace? If your books are only targeted to the 10 people in the world with the interest to publish your books, doesn't matter how good is it, how beautiful. It's not. They're not going to publish it because they're going to lose money. It's all about business. know why you want to be published? Every time my friends talk to me and saying, I got to publish my book. And I always ask these questions. Why? You know, why? There's lots of things you can do in the world. Why you want to publish a book? But it's just all different reasons. For me, I have the need to express. I want to contribute to the next generations. That's my reason. But someone may not. Someone it may be, I just want to publish my book because this book is talk about the 10 generations of my family. And how great they are. I want everyone to know about how my grandfather is a general. Blah, 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 blah. And all those could be a reason, right? But you don't have to get a big publisher to publish that kind of book, because you make a book, you can distribute yourself, give it to. So it's all different reasons, and then would also shape the way that you're going to find a publisher and how you're going to publish your books. Now choosing the right publisher. Well, first, we can categorize the publishers in the whole world, or maybe in the US. Let's make it smaller. And can be in 3 categories. One is big publishers, really big. Like if someone can pay you like $10 million as advance money if you are a former president, and they can afford that. For a small publisher, they can't. And also the big orders, they are not go to the small publisher. So they're also a medium-sized publishers. So, but let's get into a little bit about the difference between the 3 type of publishers, 3 sizes publishers. And maybe big publishers is good. Lots of people, I guess like before I talk about this, I guess everyone will feel so lucky to have a big publisher to give you a contract, right? Would you say no? No. Everyone was so grateful and just got my book published and put in the resumes, my book published by HarperCollins. And this is really big, it sounds like. But however, it doesn't really mean there is a good luck for you. And why? Big publishers, they are more business-like. They're big corporations. I try not to say any bad thing about them. It's just the nature. I do work with big publishers before, so they are very professional, and they are looking at more as the profits and strictly business. And if your book, say they publish like 400 books a year, right? It's a big publisher. And actually they only promote, do you think they promote 400 books? No. They probably promote 10% of the books. Those big name, big authors, bestsellers, approved already, have a worldwide audience, right? Everybody heard about their names, they're going to buy the book. Doesn't matter what is in the cover. That's kind of thing. So the publisher would actually promote the books really heavily, spend lots of money and spend the book, and actually have the connection to get the orders on ABC's, Night Talk, and all everywhere. They get everyone know about it. But for a new orders, they're going to test you. They're going to let you whether or not you can survive. And within a year, if your book is not selling well without any promotions, they are kill the book. Why? Doesn't make sense to keep running it. Doesn't make money. Now, would you say you're still happy to take the contract from the big publisher? You want to think twice. Maybe yes, but think again. The medium-sized and small-sized publishers, they have different, they're more personal. Like say, for say a small publisher, very small, right? They only publish like 5 books a year. It's just someone just win a lottery and decided to do some good things for the society, right? So he hired a designer and a little sales guy. And let's make a company, publish some good books. And they really would promote however they can. Sounds a good thing for you? Maybe. Depends on. They really is going to love your book and really pay attention to it. And the small publisher, because they spend so much money up front and get it, connect with all the network and print all the copies, they most likely they won't kill the book for many, many years. They let it go and let it to see the market how it goes. And like I say, for Boyce Mill Press, my publishers, they are known that they never stop printing a book. And they're not small, but there's one of those publishers, they are not going to stop printing. So this is good. So maybe, you only the first year is not that good, and maybe second year is better, and the third year better, and eventually your book maybe got some awards, prestigious awards. Boom, and your book will be $1 million. And one of my teachers, Dennis Nolan, is a very good authors and illustrators, and he has been like not really doing that well on his picture books, and one day he won an award on one of his books, and he bought a house. You just never know, right? So the middle size is just between the giants and the small, and some of them, they do have an existing network. They connect with the different marketplace, and you'll be able to promote the book to the right audience. So about that, a different publisher, they have a different market. They know different channels. So you want to really do some study before you go ahead to send your manuscript. And also, smaller publishers, they don't mind to deal with the author directly. Big publisher, you really don't talk to anyone except the one that they want to talk to, which is the agent, the well-known agent they talk to, and the well-known author they talk to. Anyone else, send them a manuscript, they put it right at the bottom of the big pile. And would wait a couple years, maybe someone is going to take a look at it. That kind of thing happen all the time. So smaller publisher, they don't mind that you don't have an agent. They just read it. Doesn't matter. This is no different to them. And they would rather to deal with the author directly, most of the publishers, most of the small publishers, or medium-sized publishers. So any questions in this part before we move on? No?
Do you get assigned an editor when they, or maybe this is down the road piece, but to what degree does a book like your latest book get an editor assigned and get changes into it?
Oh, okay, let's back up a little bit, back to my own story. I skipped that part because I tried to leave something for this part 2. So about how to promote your book and how to get it print. Well, for me, it's one thing is lots of people talk about is just you never know that you get lucky, and I was one of the lucky ones. I did this picture book for Boyce Mill, and And they invite me and my family to go back to the publishing house every year for called artist reunion kind of thing. They have a party, dancing, and they host and take care of everything that you and your family and your friends can spend the whole weekend there on their expense. So before I went over there, I created a dummy. Anyone know about a picture book dummy, right? If you are in the art side, you create a little dummy. And mostly, if you're only a writer, you don't need to do any dummy. Dummy is just combine the story and sketches, called rough drawings, and put together, show the editors how the book that you visioned to be. So I brought my dummy book and went to the party, and I got the editor outside the building, and I said, I need 5 minutes from you. No distraction. So he gave the 5 minutes to me, and I go through the cover to the cover, and then he looking at it, and he smiled. So 2 weeks later, he sent me emails, and he said, we'd love to publish this book. And I said, send me a contract. So he sent me a big contract, and I looked through it, no problem, and signed it, and then start the projects. And we're gonna go to the part about what you're gonna get, what's the terms as an author or artist. So I started to work on the painting, do all the research, and get it done within a year, and get it published. So, but on the different publishers, they give you different terms, like say what you're going to get as an author. And some of the publishers, they say it very clearly. They say they buy everything from you. Just called upright. They give you a few $1,000 and done. And anything, whatever they're going to do with the story, is nothing related to you. This is not your business anymore. And some of their good publishers, they give you royalty, maybe even give you advance money. So, so after you pay back the advance money, you start collecting royalty. And so far, I'm really picky. I only deal with the publisher that pay me royalty. I don't take the flat fee. And quite often, some publishers in Massachusetts and New York, they came to me and said, let's sign a 10-book deal with you and flat fee. And I said, no, I'm not going to look at the contract. So, because I want to be a part of the business. I want to believe in what I do, and I would spend the time to promote it. So, is answer some of the part of your question? Okay. So, anything about publisher that you like to know a little bit more? Because what I telling you, because it's the time limits, and I cannot go very in depth of.
A quick question.
Yeah.
Did you get an editor assigned to you?
The editor?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, an editor would work with you on the story, but you should not expect the editor is going to correct your grammar, because some editor, they actually see the whole story is already finished. They just only give you the feedback of maybe this book should write a little bit more geared for girls. And you're going to have to rewrite the whole thing. Okay? Or put the characters, main character would be a girl instead of a boy, and change a little events over here and there. And that is what they're going to give to you. They're not correct your grammar. They make sure that you present yourself that you are a very professional author, writer. and you have to do most of the work. But luckily, I'm not. Wow, oh, that's fast. Luckily, that is for my books, and I already edited many times, and also some of my friends gave me feedbacks and told me the grammar, and you should change this word over here and there, and the editor actually helped me quite a bit because my story is really very little words. So he actually changed a few words here and there and make it very perfect. So picture book a little bit different. Picture book sometimes there's no word, it's just picture. The picture tells the story. So it depends. So if you're writing for a little bit older age, like a chapter book or young adult, or even writing like big novels for adult, and that you really need to be really serious on the writing part. Okay, any other questions in this subject? We can talk more. Choosing the right, more help. And as I told you, I spent quite a bit of time to do some research and find out what are the books that are actually good. So if you're really serious about children's book writing and want to get some really good expert help, and this is other book that I select in Amazon.com. So you can just type on books.yongchen.com. I have a whole 3 pages of, with the 3 probably the 6, it's about 15, probably 15 titles that I think that are really good. And some of the books I do have copies. So I read through them. I agree most of them what they talk about, and really some tips really helpful. So especially one of the book is this one. It's called Children's Book Writer and Illustrators Market, and it gives you almost most of the publishers in the children's book writers and illustrators market. This is a 2005 copy. They renew it every year. This one I got it from upstairs. And inside here, they also have some interviews of some writers for different categories and some illustrators, and also some of them, even their editors, talk about how they choose stories. And also there's a big list of publishers in here, and include probably 90% of the publishers in the country. So you can go through them, and the best way to find it is by subject matter and as well as the categories. You can go to the back, the index, and you can choose, say, I'm writing about animals. And you can go under animals and list all the publishers that actually publish that type of books. Maybe my book is about fantasy, and you're gonna under the fantasy is showing you all the publishers that publish those books, and then you can go back into, or you can cross, like I say, publish. My book is the fantasy, and also early picture book, and you cross off, probably leave only like 30 publishers. You need to investigate. So, and they just give you lots of good tools. And also inside of each publisher's list, and actually gives you most information that you need. In saying, telling you how many books they publish a year, and who is the contact editor. And what is the address, and even the address they need to send their manuscript. And they even tell you how to submit the manuscript. And there's lots of those useful informations. And there is also another, so also other books, actually very good books talk about copyright and those sensitive things about publishers. And this is another copy you need to study before you send out your manuscript. And this is called LMP. And I also borrowed from upstairs, and they also renew every year. And this copy is more focused on the business. You know, you need to really know about the publishers before you want to make a deal with them. Because some publishers, they might not really promote to some channels that your book is going to target to. And most likely, they won't accept the manuscript anyway. It's just a waste of time. You need to really understand they are really matching what you need. Like say if your book is targeted to a certain group of people in the country, and even though this is not a narrow market, but it should go on a certain channel to go to that. It's not probably not really in the big traditional bookstore like a Barnes & Noble or other things. And if your book target more to the libraries in the countries, it's not every publisher they target to libraries. So you want to find out what each publishers they do. And also all they're telling you, each publishers on this big books also telling you what's the size of the publishing house, and also whether or not they have a publicity department, a PR department, which is you might want to know how they're going to promote your book. And you can combine the two books together, plus maybe the other help from some of the books. And you can get together maybe only at the end, you only have a list of 20 publishers that you want to deal with. And let's interject, we still have a few minutes, interject a little bit tips over here. It's about the way it's, sometimes it's a little bit overwhelmed, like I have 20 publishers, what should I do? Are we going to send the whole 20 package out at the same time to see who is going to come back to you? Be a little careful. Some of the publishers, they don't like you to send out more than one publisher at the same time. But it's impossible. You can wait 2 years for someone to tell you whether or not you are in. So, but however, we have to be honest to the editor, because what about 2 publishing houses came back to you, they say, we want to publish your books. What are you going to do? And you don't want to just burn the bridge. So you're always honest to them. You're already telling them at the end, I also send it to other publishers at the same time, and they would respect that at this time. And in the early age, they have more say about it. But right now, it's impossible to expect a publisher to get back to you within, like, say, 6 weeks. Usually 6 weeks or longer. It takes them to get back to you whether or not they like your story. So, and so that way, you usually the system would be you're gonna have like 5 top publishers that you really like to deal with them. So that they call list 8, and the list B is to include the 10 publishers that you want to deal with them as the second choice, and then the rest will be the list C. So you send the first 5 package out to the 5 publishers that you really want them to publish your books, and wait about probably 6 weeks. And whether or not you hear from them or not, send out the second 10. And some of them, they might already get back to you and saying, give you some tips and say, hey, we really like this story, but sorry, we can't publish this kind of book because some reason. And you can call the editor back and saying, would you mind tell me that this was the reason that you are not considering this story, if you have a minute. And she'll probably tell you that this is, yeah, I just signed on another story very similar to this one. So this is nothing wrong with the story. And you can always ask her and say, Do you think any of your friends, other editors in other publishing house, they would love to read this story? And they probably give you, you know, if it sounds really nice to her, she probably would give you a name. You can send a manuscript, and then in the cover letter you can mention about, you know, is who is read this book, like it, and send me to talk to you. You might be interested, and that kind of thing. And also they probably even give you the idea of how to improve your story. And you're going to have, most of the writers have a very big egos, include some of us, and we don't want to change anything. We believe anything we do is perfect, perfect, perfect. Just do it, just publish it. And the reality, the editors, they know better than us on what sell, what don't. So just try to compromise sometimes. You have to think about, okay, they know the market, and they are doing it every day for 30 years. I mean, they're editors. And so you want to have an open mind and modify your manuscript and try the other 10, and then wait for a little time and keep going. So even probably after a few rounds, you may land a publishers. And the publishing industry right now is not like you have to limit to the traditional publishing house. You know, there's a lot of ways you can publish your books. And there is something called self-publishing. And depends. You may actually get something out very efficiently and maybe target your right audience. And plus, any profits come from the book, all yours. And if you really believe your story, and no one really believes your story yet from just the timing, you can consider to find some self-publishing channels. And some of the company out there, they call marketing company, they actually partner with you to crack into some of the channel and markets for you. Of course, they're going to take some percentage of the sales. But the other thing I want to tell you as an author, usually is for picture book, which is I know the best, is the picture book is the author usually take 5% of the royalty, and 5% of the cover price. So it's not the sales price. You know, the publisher sell the book to Barnes Noble like half price, and you are not actually based on the half price to the Barnes Noble. And this book is $16.95, which is $17 almost. So $17, you got every book you sell, you got the 5%. As an artist, usually also get the 5%. So 5% for me, for this book, I get 10%. So every book sell, I get $1.70 for a book. So imagine if they sell 1 million, I'm a millionaire. Not easy. They have to print many, many years to have that many books printed. So any other questions? And so this is website is called books.yongchen.com, which direct forward you to the page. And the last thing, a perfect gift, because the book cover is called a gift. It's a gift as a gift. So I also have a website for it, a gift.yongchen.com, and this is beautiful. So you want to spend some time over there. And if you have $15 today, I give you a book today, and with my signature. Yeah. So if you want to think about it, maybe you want to buy more than one, I have something here. I did a little printout, and that you could put your name, your phone number, and your street address. Assuming we all live in Nashua, so pretty close. So if you give me those information and tell me how many copies you want, because most likely for Christmas in the holidays, on the birthday, you can count on it. Like could be easily like could be like my niece or my nephew who is having a Chinese girl adopted, or maybe who is teachers, they would appreciate a book about Chinese culture and so on. You can think about it, and I would also give you not the cover price is $15. So I don't have that many books, so if you tell me how many copies you need, I would order them for you direct from the publisher, so you don't have to get it from Barnes & Noble. And mostly, Barnes & Noble does not always store lots of copies of books. They only order the books when they get request. So because they don't want to bother the hassle. Okay. So how are we gonna do that? Why we are going to have a discussion? So.
What's the age group that this particular book is?
Mostly, they call the target audience, target reader is 3 to 9. That age, which is older, they can read it on themselves. The parents is going to read to them, and that type. But for a book like this, you very much like there's many layers of informations. So when they get older, when they read it again, they understand a little more deeper instead of just, oh, the Nicholas is so beautiful. And it's not just that, it's a lot more than that. Okay, so any other questions? I do want you to pass this, just one sheet. So anyone who want to put down your name and think about how many copies if you need, bring it to your door. Maybe my daughter bring it to your door. Buy one at least, please. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Any questions? Yes.
Does it cost anything to submit your manuscript?
No, usually not. Cost you let's talk about that. When you submit a manuscript, and like say a book like over here, not this book. I have another book which is let me see if I have it on the home page, on the first page. It's not really here. There is some of the book actually telling you what to write on the cover letter and what you should submit. And also sometimes don't just leave. Okay. Sometimes you need to be even ask the editors, or maybe send a request to them and ask them for the catalog of the book that published this year, and ask them what is the submission guidelines. Okay, they will tell you what to submit, and every publishing house have somehow different. So you want to really do it within the guideline. For a long story, maybe they only ask you for a table of content, or maybe only ask you for a brief introductions. And before they consider, after they consider your ideas, and then you're going to send the full manuscript. You need to be really communicate with the editors. So first find out who are the editors that you like to deal with, and ask them for the guideline, and before you talk to them. And usually there's always something we should do is put a return address, stamp envelope, and make sure enough postage, and fold it and put it into the package. So because it's not because you want it back, because you want to show it to the editor that you know the rules and know that you love your own stories. You don't always say, you can trash it, I don't care. That's not a good message. So even just a few dollars of stamps you would need to do. Any other questions? I do know a lot though, so it's just the time limit. Ask me something, I can tell you. Yeah.
What about query letters? Are they different like with adult books?
Yeah, courier letter is very similar to cover letter. They're somehow a little bit different. There's a book. It's called How to Publish Your Children's Book. Actually, go on to this page when you get home, books.yongchen.com. I believe they go to the number 3 page. You can see that page. Amazon.com gives you a big discount for most of those books. They're actually very reasonable. And you can click on the image, and actually gives you a full descriptions of the book. And actually that book's really helpful. I read some of the books, but that book is telling you exactly what you should write and exactly what you should be careful about, and all the steps. It's very, very important. Yeah. Any other questions? One thing about illustrations with story, because there is a common question that I receive from my websites, that lots of authors saying, I love my story, I believe you will too, but would you like to read it and do the illustration, do the paintings for the book, and then I'm going to send my manuscript with the picture together to a publishing house, and I'm sure they will publish the book. Do you know what lots of things is in this sentence? I think, I'm sure, but no. As soon as you put the picture with the story, it's not your picture. And even you like to do your own picture, but you're not professional trained artist for children's book, they usually reject your manuscript, doesn't matter how well the story written, because they see you as not professional. Even when I submit my artwork with the story together, what the editor looking at, they're not looking at the picture. He's just going through it. It doesn't really affect much. After they like the story, they might come back and see, oh, okay. Because that's more like an art director's job, about how the page would flow. The more as the story. The editor would actually ask me, could you email me the text? Only the text. So if you believe your story is good, just send the story. Unless you are you're the writer, and also you are a trained illustrator or artist. Don't try to do both, and never ask someone else to do the artwork for you and put together and send it. As an artist, you might not want to do that either, because unless this is your husband or someone important to you. Okay, I do it if you give me a big gift in Christmas. But usually the case is the editor look at the writing. They have great imagination. If the story is good, they have very good imagination. They don't need the picture to imagine how good the story is. And they know exactly who should do the artwork, because they already have a whole team of artists have been working with them for 10, 20 years, and who already approve their artwork sell the book. Would they actually take your advice? Maybe, sometimes, but mostly they believe what they believe. So as an artist, you did the artwork, you got nothing, because you maybe actually they did not select you as just doing the artwork. So I always give the advice to the writer, say, that actually makes you unprofessional. Second thing, after you get a publisher to take on your story, and then suggest they should talk to me. But however, even someone came to me with a story, I may not accept it either because it may not be my kind of story to do. My artwork is more like a loving, tender, that type, family loving, that type of story type. If someone came to me with doing a Halloween story, I may not really take it because it's not my type of project.
Well then, how much flexibility do you have if you send your story to a publisher and the publisher says, yes, I like the story, and we'll get, not to worry, we'll get the pictures done. Well, what if you don't like the pictures? At what point do you sign off on this thing and give up your sort of artistic license?
I hate to say this. In the reality, who is taking the biggest risk?
Well,
Publishing
there's
house.
materialism and wanting to publish because you want to
Yeah.
make money, but
Yeah.
there's also this issue of I have my standards, I'm an artist, I'm not going to sell out because I don't like your pictures.
Yeah.
So it has to do with the contract you make, I would imagine.
That is the contract. There's nothing that gives you the right to alternate the publisher's decisions. You give all the full right to the publisher, whatever they're going to do. The only thing you get is the royalty in different areas. But you could maybe argue with that. You could have a lawyer look into the contract and give you some suggestions, and maybe you should fight on these areas. But most of the time, unless you are really the writers of Harry Potter, you have nothing to say. For me, I did communicate with the writer on this book, and she sent me a lot of pictures of sharks and even invite me down to Miami to swim with sharks, have the first-hand experience. But at that time, I did not even know how to swim.
In your book, The Gift, though,
Yeah,
you're both the author, you wrote
Yeah.
it, and you illustrated it.
yeah.
So,
Because for me, I already proved to the same publisher that I am really professional illustrators. And there's a different story. But for only a writer, you can say if you don't use the artist, I'm not going to let you publish my books. That's probably the only bargain you can have, but most likely you're not going to get published. And for this book, and I never talked to the writer. So all the direct communication between me and the art director. And it's sad that the writer doesn't have much to say about, because not much control on the business side. Because publishing process is about business and how the publisher would make the money to pay for everyone working in the publishing house. And the only thing that sometimes they can fight for is how many copies of book that you can get for free when the book is printed. That's probably the only thing, from my experience, the only thing you can argue about it. And the royalty, the advance money against royalty, sometimes, most of the time, they treat you really fair. You are the first time author, and we believe, because, okay, get back a little bit about the process of before they consider your manuscript. It's not just the editor. The editor likes your story, they bring it to another editor, they read it, get a second opinion. If the second editor also loves your story, and then the first editor would bring it to see his boss, the director of the editing team. And if he liked the story, and then he would also get input from the sales and marketing. And the sales marketing also have a big say on that. They would talk about, no, this kind of book is never going to sell. Because the sales marketing, they actually they direct contact the real market, the channel. They go to the trade show in all around the world, and if they think this is not going to sell, doesn't matter how good the story is, and the editor they have to say, we cannot publish it. So this is not about. But if you really believe the story, you can always have somehow to publish it, include self-publishing, if you also partner with a marketing firm, and you can do that. But again, if you have, if you're really interested in the children's book publishing, and you want to do a little investment like $10 or something, pick a book and read through it, copy to copy. And that really tell you lots of details. There's lots of in-depth details in every different age and categories of publishing we need to care about. And the things change from time to time. The thing that we know 10 years ago may not be the same. It's always change. And also include the multimedia and all the different things is came up recently. And publishing actually have a lot more possibility. Okay? Any other questions? Hi.
I appreciate your honesty about the reality of publishing. And I tell you, all of the children's books that I have kept are because of the artwork. And the reason I'm here tonight is because of your artistry.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's depressing to hear what you have to say.
Well,
But it's good to know that.
oh,
My art, it makes me add the question I would ask, it must be twice as hard to get your paintings. So if you went that route, forget writing and just push your paintings, it must be twice as hard, is it?
yeah, she mentioned about that you know, as a writer and illustrator, and get both writing and illustrator and artworks get published is twice as hard as just the writing. Is that right? Publishing is a very tough business, especially children's book. It's the reality, because we only deal with the small segments of the populations, and also you only deal with a certain age group. And it's not like an adult novel. You know, everyone on the subway, they're reading something. And the adult, they have all the money, and someone obsessed with the, you know, the thriller or maybe a romance stories, they would buy the books. They will read the books like whenever they can get a book. So this is a much bigger market. Children's book is very, very tough. And getting a story published, get out there, and if you get a contract, consider you are a very lucky one. But however, before you get one, keep trying. Just try it. Because the same editor not consider your manuscript this year, may consider your manuscript next year, because the structure of the publishing house may be changed. Maybe this year they are not considering any romance, or maybe not consider any fantasy stories. Maybe they add it to their publishing categories next year. So, and also the editors may find out actually the market changed next year from the marketing department, and this is maybe this kind of stories sell a little bit better this year, and we're going to publish a few more next year. So it's just don't take no for answer. They say no, and give it to them again next year. So it's just nothing personal. Don't take it personal because, oh, she doesn't like my story, I'm going to... No, don't think about that. It's just, everybody's just doing a job and try to do the right thing. So just keep trying.